All right, today we have a 2001 Honda Civic. We're going to show you how to replace the rear drum brakes on this car. We're going to be putting new brake pads and new brake shoes and new drums on the back of it. We got our parts from APDTY, so we'll go ahead and show you how to install those. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to get it up in the air. You can of course do this on jack stands also, but we do have a lift available, so we'll go ahead and take advantage of it. So we're going to go ahead and get it up in the air. Okay, so we've got the car up in the air. We're going to go ahead and take the drum off. I sprayed it with some penetrating oil around where the hub and the rotor or drum meet. Just take a hammer and give it a few little taps there, and it should come right off. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just soak it down and clean it with some brake parts cleaner, just to kind of make it easier to work with. We have a cardboard box sitting under here to catch all this fluid coming off. You don't really want that going onto the ground. Alright, so we got it pretty clean. Now we're okay to go ahead and work with it. The first thing we'll do is take off the top spring up here. This kind of holds the two shoes together. Once that's off, and then we take these other retaining clips off, it's pretty cake from there. Now there's actually a special tool out there to take these off, but there's all kinds of different tricks. Now one thing that I should point out, it's really a good idea to wear safety glasses when doing this. Unfortunately, I don't have any with me, so I'm just going to be real careful. But these springs are under a lot of tension, and you do not want that popping off and hitting your eye. So what I did is I just clamped my vice grips, real small vice grips, onto the spring here. I'm going to try to pry it to the side and pull it out at the same time. All right, so we got our spring off. Now when we did this, the wheel cylinder popped out of its bore, which let the brake fluid out, which also let air in, which means that when we're done, now we have to bleed the brakes, on this side at least. So just keep that in mind. We can't just put it together and drive it. We have to bleed those. All right, so we've got the top spring off, and you can see now the shoes are free to move around. Our next step will be to remove these retainer clips, and all you have to do is you push. I'll do this one so you can see a little better. You push in on it to release the spring tension. Let me try to line our shoe back up some. You push in on it to relieve the tension on this clip, and then turn this little thing from the back side here, and it'll pop right off. We'll do the same with the other side. There it goes. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take off this brake shoe on the front here. I'm going to keep it all together just like it was on the car, and I'm going to set it down just like that so we remember how it came apart. On the other side, this one is attached to the emergency brake lever, so we have to undo this. It's a, I guess you call it a horseshoe clip. Basically, it has to just be pried apart, and then it comes right off. A lot of times you can get this by grabbing between the clip and the retaining pin and just working it back and forth until it's up somewhat. Then at that point, grab our flathead. And just try to work this off of here. Okay, there's our clip. So we'll set that aside. And take our brake shoe off. Now remember, it came off just like this, so that's how we're going to put our new shoe on. Also take the retaining pin out. And we'll set that aside. Now before we put the new shoes on, we're going to give this another good cleaning, and we want to lubricate these points where the brake shoes sit against the backing plate. All right, now we're going to put just a small amount of lubricant. You can use anti-seize lubricant or the silicone brake lubricant, but you want something durable that will hold up, and you just put a small layer on each of these contact points. You'll be able to tell where they are because they'll be like shiny looking, and you want those to be lubricated. Otherwise, the brake pads might make noise when you're stopping. Okay, now we're going to take our new brake shoes, well, one of them, and we're going to reattach it to the e-brake lever here. And same thing, just like it came off, just slide it back together like that. And then we take our U-clip, we're going to pop it over there. And then to secure that, all you do is squeeze these little tabs right here until it clamps down on it. Once it does that, it's not going anywhere. And we'll just set that back up in place here. And on this one, we can go ahead and put our retaining clip back on. Which is just like it came off. You just press the spring part in, except it's got to be lined up just right. There we go. All right. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just transfer over all the pieces from the one brake shoe to the other, just like they come off. Actually, I'll put that one on last. All right, and we're going to just put all this back together. Now it's not going to all stay real tight together yet until we get it up in the car. Okay, now we're going to put this all back in the car here just like it came out. And we're going to go ahead and get our retaining clip on here just to kind of hold it all in place while we put the springs back in. Okay. Now just line everything up just like it came apart. Now we're going to try to reconnect our spring down here first. This bottom one you can actually connect first and then pop the shoes back over the retaining thing down here. There we go. And then the spring goes behind that, like so. And then our e-brake tensioner, which is this rod, just make sure that's all lined up and seated properly on the brake shoes. Okay. And that looks like everything except for our top spring. Now this one, there's a few different methods. Again, they make a special tool for this. Unfortunately, I can't locate mine right at the time. So what I'm going to do is just use a little old screwdriver. Again, if you have safety glasses, you want to be wearing them at this point. And I don't, so don't follow my lead on this. But basically, you take a small screwdriver or similar shaped thing, and you real carefully just pry it back, and then you have to kind of work the spring into its hole there, which can be tricky. And it might take a couple times. So nope, didn't work. Try that again. All right, we'll try that again. See if I can grab that with pliers and turn it. Nope. There it goes. All right. So at this point, everything's back together. Got our top spring on, we got our retaining clips on, our e-brake lever on the back, our bottom spring, and all we have to do now is put the drum on and readjust it. I'll show you how to do that real quick. All right, so we've got our new brake drum. We went ahead and cleaned this up. Best way to clean these is actually with just regular old soap and water. So we got this thing all nice and clean, ready to install. Just going to do an initial test fit here. Just slide it on. What you do is just kind of hit it a few times, and that'll make sure the brake shoes are centered. And you see it's a little bit too loose. You want the brake shoes to have just a very slight amount of contact with the drum. All right, so we're going to adjust this the tension on the brake shoes. This thing right here had that little star-shaped sprocket on it. That's the adjuster. To adjust it out, you just turn it a couple ticks at a time, and then test fit your brake drum again. And that's about perfect right there. It's got just a little bit of contact. Does about a spin and stops. So that's right where we want it to be. So last thing we have to do is just bleed this one wheel, since that wheel cylinder popped out, and we'll be all done. All right, so we're all done on one side. Again, all we have to do is bleed the rear brakes. Basically, all you do is you crack the bleeder open, and you have someone press the brake pedal down, tighten the bleeder, and they release the brake pedal. And you do that a few times until there's no more air in the system. But other than that, all we have to do is repeat the same thing for the other side, and we'll be all set and ready to go. So we thank you for watching, and remember, check out APDTY. Look us up on Facebook. It's facebook.com.